South London 2 versus Chicago Remastered. There's been some debate about which is the best hood game in Roblox. Today, we're going to break down the pros and cons of both games and get an answer of which is the best hood game in Roblox. Alright, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the content. So, South London 2 has been around longer. As you see, South London 2 was created on March 14th, 2020, most recently updated today. And because of that, South London 2 generally has more content and is more of a complete game. There are more cars in South London 2, there are more shops, the map is bigger, there are more game passes, the game has had a lot more updates, and generally speaking, this is just my opinion here, the map is better. It feels more lively, it feels more put together. It seems more of an actual city where most of the buildings do serve some sort of purpose. Alright, now we're going to talk about the content in Chicago Remastered. Just taking a look at the history of the game real quick. The game has only been around since July 28th of 2021, so it is relatively new, and it was updated today, May 13th, 2022, so the dev team is active. One thing to keep in mind with newer games is it's not always going to be as complete, but there is still a lot of stuff to do in Chicago Remastered. For example, you can go rob the bank. There are also a lot of good ways to make money in Chicago Remastered, like robbing the bank or robbing the jewelry store. And another cool feature in this game specifically is the gangs that they have in the game. There's a handful of gangs, different territories. You'll see other YouTubers like Lack or Murda do stuff with the different gangs. So that's a very unique and welcome touch in the game. Alright, so I gotta give the first round to South London 2, so 1 point for SL2, 0 for Chicago Remastered. Alright, the second point in this video is the cost. How much each game costs and how accessible is the game. So, South London 2, this is arguably one of its biggest weaknesses or drawbacks is the cost. As you do see, it has a lot of game passes and a lot of them are pretty expensive. So the cheapest game pass is Access Fist for 70 Robux, with the most expensive game pass being the max spawner for 4,200 Robux. So the game is very expensive. So if you don't have Robux, there's a lot of stuff that you won't be able to do in the game unless you get the hookup. One argument or one point that people have made is that South London 2 can seem like a cash grab with, you gotta pay 70 Robux to use your fist. You know, 245 to get cars. Now they did come in clutch, you can get a bike without the pass. So you have some sort of vehicle, you can work jobs, but you're completely defenseless unless someone hooks it up. Now, for 400 Robux, you can get access to looting once you're level 30 and you can get guns off of people that way. But generally speaking, you won't be able to defend yourself in this game. You won't be able to do a lot of stuff in the game unless you have Robux to spend or you have the hookup. Alright, now when taking a look at the cost of the game, Chicago Remastered is definitely more accessible. You don't necessarily need to buy any of the game passes to be able to play or enjoy the game. They are added touches. I haven't copped any of them yet. I might do it and we might drop a review if y'all want to see that. But even looking at these game passes, they are cheaper or more reasonably priced than the game passes in South London 2. You're able to buy vehicles without a game pass, and you're also able to buy weapons without a game pass. And these are just the weapons in the gun store. You can also get other weapons from being a member of one of the gangs. Alright, so the second round I gotta give it to Chicago Remastered. So we're tied again, 1 point Chicago Remastered, 1 point South London 2. Now the third point is the in-game experience. This may be the most important part. What is the game like when you're actually in it? Is it a good time? So for South London 2, I'm gonna start with the negatives. So the biggest negative for me is the cash drop mechanic. If you've been in one of my streams, you've seen my videos, I complain about this so much. If every time that you die, you drop an obscene amount of cash, and it's infuriating because of some of the issues I'm about to talk about. So it is a little bit difficult to make money in the game. There are a couple jobs that you can work at. I've done some money tutorials, but it does take a while to start stacking up. You can also sell weapons if you have them. That's probably honestly the best way to make money, but that's an issue if you don't have Robux. So putting those two together, it's a big drawback. You drop a lot of money every time you die, and it also takes a long time to make money. And when you combine that with this next thing, sometimes the game can be really frustrating. It is supposed to be an RP game, but there is a lot of arcane going on. Don't get that confused. It says it's RP, you will get arcade and you will drop a lot of money. So those are the drawbacks. That's the negatives. Enough complaining. Now the positive of this game, like I said, it's been around for a longer time. The devs have been putting in work, putting in straight work. There's a lot of content in this game if you have the Robux to get it or if you have the hookup. So once you actually do have some of the game passes, the game is really enjoyable and it's a good time, especially if you hop in with friends, you hop in during a stream and you actually do some RP and run the server. It's a good time. So if you got some Robux and you can get some of the game passes or you have a hookup, you will have a good time with this in-game experience. Now just talking about the overall gameplay, generally speaking, there is a lot of arcade in this game, but it says that in the description. It does say that it's an arcade game. It happens. It happens. Now, the pro of this arcade game is that you don't drop cash when you die. So it's not as infuriating. Like, it's gonna happen. It's part of the game. You're gonna die, but you're not really gonna be punished like that for it. You basically just drop what's in your inventory when you die, but you do get to keep your cash. And speaking about cash, there are lots of ways to make cash pretty quickly in the game. You can rob the jewelry store, you can rob the bank, you can rob really any of the shops that have an NPC working in them. You can get money from other players, and you can also even work in the blocks and out. Now the map can feel a little bit bare at times, but like I mentioned earlier, the game is new, they're still updating it, and they've been dropping some W updates recently. So if you don't have a ton of Robux to spend, but you do like Roblox hood games that have a good amount of content and W updates, gangs, then check out Chicago Remastered. It's a good time. You can really grind your money up, get your weapons up, all that, and you don't have to spend a bunch of Robux to do it. Alright, for this category, it's a tie. Really, it just depends on what type of game you're trying to play, what type of mood you're in on that day. So it's going to end in a 2-2 draw for me. Which game is better really just depends on the day, depends on my mood. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Comment below, what is your favorite hood game? Is it Southland 2? Is it Chicago Remastered? Or is it another game? And also, make sure to stay tuned. There's a new hood game that might be stirring up the rankings, and we're going to drop a video on that soon. So make sure you subscribe to the channel.